for literally decades at this point, from Hezbollah in the north of Israel to Hamas in the south of Israel to now the Houthis in Yemen. They've been using all of their proxy groups because they do not want Israel to take direct action against the Iranian regime itself. They also understand over in Iran that the rest of the world is not interested in an Israel-Iran direct war. And herein lies the conundrum.
The rest of the world is not interested in a Iran-Israel war, but I am. So let me tell you why the rest of the world is actually wrong and how nuclear Armageddon is sick. Yeah, no, actually, here, I will spend the next 13 minutes describing to you why we have to glass Iran. We have to do it, okay?
For the state of Israel, because after you are attacked with 170 drones, 30 cruise missiles, and 120 ballistic missiles, typically you are going to respond in kind to the country that just attacked you this way. We'll get to Israel's response in just a second. First, the actual news was that on Saturday night in Israel,
I thought he was going to be like, first, the actual news is that a lot of your information online is stolen by third parties. That's why you have to use Aura, especially at the top of the hour when there are ads that are going to be served to you. I'm so used to him hitting an ad break in the midst of his commentary at this point that I genuinely expected him to hit you with a NordVPN.
Suddenly, people started waking up 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to the sounds of cruise missiles and ballistic missiles being shot down. The video is absolutely astonishing. It was Israeli weaponry, by the way, that was actually taking down missiles that had been fired near the Dome of the Rock. If it were not for Israel's defensive capacity, many holy sites in Islam would have been destroyed because, again, the only defender of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam in the Middle East would actually be the state of Israel. Here is some of the dramatic footage as literally hundreds of drones.
This is such obvious, glaringly obvious propaganda that Israel tried to do. Absolutely zero people in the Muslim world look to that and go, yeah, these guys definitely care about defending Islam. Yeah, Iran definitely was trying to blow up the dome. They were trying to blow up Al-Aqsa Mosque, and Israel defended it. It's such a funny talking point because, like, it's almost entirely designed for non-Muslims, okay? There is not a single Muslim on this planet, with the exception of, like, maybe MBS and, like, super hardcore, like those sheiks that you see sometimes that dick ride Israel into oblivion. Not a single Muslim person on the planet thinks that Israel legitimately wants to defend Islamic sites of worship, okay? They know the truth. So, obviously, they're not cutting this propaganda to bring Muslims on board. No, they're cutting this propaganda to get the Christians to be like, oh, look at how hypocritical these goddamn Iranians are.
And cruise missiles and ballistic missiles were shot over the state of Israel on Saturday night. It's about 1:45 a.m. Saturday night in Jerusalem.
It's a little different. It's hard for me to assess. There's the sirens now. Guys, are we on air?
You can see the incoming
and those are the
cruise missiles,
Nick Robertson, you are on air.
And ballistic missiles being shot down by Israel's anti-weaponry. This is directly over the Dome of the Rock. That's the Temple Mount, the holiest site in Judaism, the third holiest site in Islam. Again, this is directly over Israel's capital city in Jerusalem. So dramatic footage. Near the South Israel, looks like a fireworks show as Iranian drones are shot down over the state of Israel. Ashkelon is a major city in Israel's south on the coast. And this sort of footage is shocking. Israel's success rate here was even more shocking. So in what can only be described as a technological miracle, and if you're a religious person, obviously, when you see the miraculous in real life, you attribute that to the hand of God as well as to the hand of technology. But it
is so far removed from God that literally is actually man overcoming God in every sense of the word. You just watched years and years of technological advancement, and it is truly a marvel, I have to admit, okay? It is ridiculous to say that this is the hand of God. It is not. It is the opposite of God. It is science, okay? It's also our tax dollars at work in many respects, but that's besides the point.
It can only be described as miraculous that 99% of all ordnance emanating from Iran here was shot down by the Israelis and the UK and the United States. Here's Clarissa Ward of CNN explaining just how successful the defensive measures were put forward by the state of Israel as well as Jordanian forces, Jordan's revealed preference, by the way, is now for the state of Israel. Revealed preference is when you say that you're for a thing, but what you're actually for is another thing. Jordan has been proclaiming that it's very, very much pro-Hamas and the Palestinians.
No, they have. It's so funny. No, you only say that because you think that they're like too Arab adjacent, okay? They're just like Arab. So you're like, yeah, their preference is towards Hamas. Like, no, man. Yeah, I'm shocked to see that the British Empire placement in the Jordanian monarchy that has been personally squashing pro-Palestinian protests by force for the past 6 months actually is supporting Israel here. Like, that's crazy. Wow, dude. I can't believe it.
And then when it comes down to it, they really, really don't like Iran at all. And so they're shooting down incoming ordnance.
You're wrong. They do posture as pro-Palestinian. Yes, everyone postures as pro-Palestinian because they have to respond to public sentiment because the Jordanian public is pro-Palestinian, just like the Saudi public is pro-Palestinian. So every administration in the region, in an effort to make it seem like they are in line with the interests of their citizens, will say that they're pro-Palestinian. Jordan will also obviously allow humanitarian aid to go through. Jordan will also do humanitarian aid drops, but so does America. Do you think America is pro-Palestinian by that very same metric? Or do you think America is pro-Israel?
United States, the UK, even France got involved in shooting down much of this material in an attempt to avoid an escalatory war in the region. Here's Clarissa War explaining the success rate.
President Biden has urged Israel not to escalate further, but one Israeli official telling CNN that they will respond. It's simply a matter of the scale and scope of what that response will be. This after, as you mentioned, 300 cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, drones fired towards Israel last night, 99% of them intercepted. But tellingly, the IDF has said that a number, they won't give the specific number, of ballistic missiles did make impact at the Nevatim Air Force Base in southern Israel. That is where those F-35 fighter jets are based.
Okay, it did very minor damage at the Air Force Base in the south of Israel. Not enough.
It's so weird that those missiles hit this like remote Air Force base when Ben Shapiro and everyone else has been saying that Iran was just trying to simply hit like all of the population centers to kill as many Israelis as possible. I guess those missiles were trying to kill as many civilians as possible, but then ended up being redirected to the Air Force Base or something. I don't know. It must have been a coincidence. Was it actually minor damage? I think it wasn't as big. The damage was not as big as the way that the Iranian side presented it. I have yet to see it. Yeah, it was a civilian military base where they were keeping their commercial F-35s.